welcome to the Education Podcast, where we bring you insightful discussions on education. And Abdulsalam Amo, with the holidays just around the corner. Today's episode is focused on engaging children productively during the holidays. Our special guest is Mrs. Maryam Tanko-Salami, who brings a wealth of experience in child development and educational activities. We understand that keeping children occupied and stimulated during this period can be challenging to parents and guardians. Join us as Mariam shares creative and educational activities that not only keep children entertained but also foster their growth and learning. From DIY projects to educational games and outdoor adventures, we have plenty of options to make this holiday season both enjoyable and enriching for your children. Hello, Mariam.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. What are some of the creative and educational activities that parents can introduce to keep their children engaged during the holidays?
Okay, thank you for that question, and thank you for having me once again. So I would like to talk about planning first. It is important that you know what you want to do for your children or with your children during the holiday. And as we all know, especially for legal schools, all schools are vacated now. Not all, majority of these schools are vacated now. And it is very important, like I mentioned earlier, to plan. If you want to have a stress-free break, it's better you plan the children's routine. So aside from strategies, activities, and probably things that would help or stimulate the children during the break, you also need to plan a routine, meaning their sleep time, their breakfast time, when they're having their lunch, and all those things. If you have a ritual that you perform during your holiday, you should also have that planned, because that is the only way you can have a better result at the end of the holiday. I say results because it is a goal that we are meant to achieve. So because we want it to be stress-free and we want it to be engaging as well, we would like to have a plan, a strategic plan. And like I mentioned, the first thing to plan about is the routine. So if you've planned that, now you need to figure out the age group that your children are, because of course we have different children or categories of children in a family. You can see maybe a 3-year-old child, you can see maybe a 7-year-old child, you can also see probably a 12-year-old, a preteen, or probably a teenager. So these are the things that you need to think about before you plan. I'm talking about activity planning now, not the routine plan. We've talked about routine plan. So now you need to see, okay, I think my 5 to 10-year-old children, that age group, they're in the same age group. So I'm going to work out a plan that would fit that age group. If you have a preteen and a teenager, teenagers might even want to help. Instead of being inside the plan, they might want to help you plan. Yes. So having done that, because these are important things that we should do before we get into the major aspect of the activity. So if you have done that, you've grouped your children into the category of age that they are. Now you can now do your research. I have a couple of activities here for preteens and early child, like from 4 years or 3 years or probably even 2. But the major thing is what I just discussed now. You need to plan. Plan is very, very important. If you just tell yourself that when the holiday comes, we'll just figure out what to do on a day, it won't work out unlike the way that you have planned. Okay, so first things first, I would like to talk about the age grouping. Now we're moving to the activity. So for instance, if you have as little as a 2-year-old, I would even go to, even if you have a 3-month-old, but let's extend it to 2 years. If you have a little child that is 2 years and it is time for their holiday, because some children also go to daycares or preschool centers, and then now they are back home. It is very important that you also plan for this age group. You can have them get probably just because you want to do this overall development for them, you can engage them with activities that would help in building their fine motor skills and gross motor skills. You can as well incorporate outdoor play, a lot of outdoor plays for these children, because it will be fun and exciting for them. And I'm saying this because majority of we parents would want to do, let me just put a cartoon for the child, or let me just play the child's tab and let them watch. But that shouldn't be the case. Yes, you can advise that you have more of physical play, cognitive play, and all those things that will help them during the holiday.
What outdoor activities would you suggest for both fun and educational needs of children?
So we have a lot of activities out there that a lot of parents can explore, but I'll just discuss the ones that I have done with my child, and from my own experience. And I was talking about nature crafts. We do it in a fun way because it is important that before the outdoor activity, it's important that you get to know what you're going to do. So if you have done this research, you've done research on arts, your goal for that activity. So when you go out, of course, you're going to make it in a fun way. You tell your children or your child that you're going to go and scavenge, or you're going to tell them that they're hunting for leaves around. They pick or pluck leaves, they pluck flowers, they pluck everything, and then you come back and then you talk about what they have discovered. You start talking about what they have discovered. There are different feelings of different kinds of trees or flowers. They have different textures. So when the children bring it back, because you've told them to go and hunt for different things, when they bring it back, you tell them to feel it and express themselves. So by feeling it, it's another way of learning. Of course, sensitivity, feeling and touch and all those things. So they tell you, this looks very hard, it has a hard feeling, I can even share it, or I can, pull it and then it will come off. So these are the things that they're exploring, because you want children to be to absorb everything that they're learning. You're supposed to just be the person that is prompting them to do a lot of things, but let them do the discovery by themselves. Let them find out whatever they are finding out by themselves. You don't need to tell them, this is soft, this is hard. Let them explain or express themselves in the best way that they can. So now we're moving to the next step. The next step, of course, is to create a nature art. So I think I'm going to eventually have to share the picture with you later on. There's this bunny that we created with my daughter then. She was 4 or 5, I can't remember. And we created a bunny. We used these mango leaves to make the ears. We used the bark of the tree to make the eyes. We also used some stems, like that very long, I don't know if it's a stem that is called, that very long part of the leaf. We cut it into two. That's stick holding the leaf together. We cut it into two, and then we made whiskers just to create a rabbit, and then we presented a very lovely nature art. You can also extend to making patterns of leaves. You get leaves, color it, make your child to paint the leaves, and then they stamp it on a white paper or a cardboard, or make different colors, and it comes out beautifully. So this is one of the outdoor activity that your children, you and your children, the parents and the children, can explore. Another thing that they can do is go out or go to a park. and tell them, ask them questions relating to the park. What do you think happens in the park? Can you say depending on the age, because age matters in all the activities that you're going to be doing. So you can ask probably a 7-year-old child, or 8, even 6, from 6 to 10, to give you a short story about the park, or to tell you a story about one day that they visited a park, because they're in the environment and they're able to remember some sort of things that they were engaging with, or they're about to engage with. Their mind would be exploring a lot of things, so they can share stories and say, okay, they have a creative story to share with you. And this is an outdoor activity that you can explore as well. Aside from physical activities, they can have fun with the swings, the slides, and all these activities too are physical activities that are engaging. So yeah, these are 2 outdoor activities that children can explore.
Will these activities tell us more about the role arts and crafts play in that?
Yeah, a lot. I would like to start with talking about fine motor skills, because of course we all need our hand, and eventually when we grow up, we do a lot of things with our hands, and at that point, children have tiny muscles that are still building. So then plucking leaves, from the start, from plucking the leaves, touching it is doing a lot of things. You might just feel like, is it just that small time that they are plucking leaves, or that small time that they are touching it? Yes, it is doing a lot of things. It is they're building their fine motor skills. So fine motor skills is one of the things that would help the children. Another thing is creativity. So you're expanding their creative mind. You'll find out that I'm going to use my daughter as a case study. She's very creative at this point now. It's been many years that we explored that, and we usually explore a lot of things. And now it's beginning to seem like it is what we've been engaging in that she's presenting. So what I'm trying to say in essence is, doing that outdoor activity, that arts, nature arts or craft or nature craft, it will help the children expand their creative mind. So they're not just thinking like, okay, I want to color. They want to think about coloring probably a plant, or making their own pattern in their own way. So there are tons of things that would be taken away from that activity. Like, you're going to learn colors, they're going to learn different patterns, they're going to learn different sensitivity, like what they are feeling, if it's hard, if it's soft. So all these things are things that children are going to learn when they are doing that outdoor activity.
How can parents balance screen time with the other productive activities for the children during the holiday?
Yes, there are other productive activities. I would say that I always go back to planning, to be honest, because if you don't plan, you'll be forced to say, go and watch TV because you're disturbing me, or just leave this place. So again, I would like to emphasize on plan and emphasize on your age group. So I would like to focus on 5 to 10, the age group from 5 to 10. It is very important that, even if, I'm saying this because sometimes we might just we might exhaust all the plan or all the routine for the day. So, but you want to engage the children, and you feel like you don't want them to be stuck on the screen for a longer period. So what can you do? There are educative apps or programs that children can engage in. So instead of doing screen, you can explore other educative apps that will help build the children's or stimulate their thinking.
Away from that, let's talk about books. What books or reading activities would you recommend for children of different age groups during the holiday?
I I don't know if this is okay, but I usually have a reading challenge, which is free for children age 5 to 12, and it's always mind blowing because I see that children are engaged in lots of challenges. So I'm not saying challenge in a bad term. I'm saying reading challenges. So when you want to do this reading, children will get bored, and that's one thing that parents don't know. We most times just give a child a book or probably read a book to a child. They are children that are developing, and they also find it, very boring in the sense that every day bring your book, let me read to other activities, and also you'll be able to incorporate varieties of strategies or activities. I'll give you one. Sometimes I ask my child to, she has a lot of books that she has journal, start to journal, like write about how our week went, like how did your week go? Like she's writing everything that has happened in her week or her day. It depends on the goal I want to achieve. So when she has done that, she reads it to me, and it is part of reading. It's not just about reading a book that is well known or reading a book from your bookshelf. Another strategy that you can explore is reading a book and the child going to write out the keynotes of the book. So you can pick out a text from the book depending on the age group, and I'm choosing 5 to 10. 5 to 10 can achieve this. So for 5, probably 5 to 6 or 5 to 7, you can tell them to retell the story. You've read the book, now drop the book. Can you tell me the story? It is helping them build their vocabulary as well as, build their sentence structuring. So these are some or few of the reading strategies that parents can explore.
How can parents incorporate learning into the early routines of their children?
Okay, are you talking about academic learning? Because everything we've discussed too is learning.
Of course.
Okay. And it's still the same response I'm going to give. It depends on the goal. What is that one thing you want to work with or work on the child? If it's maths, you feel like the child didn't do well in maths, or you feel like the child didn't do well in language arts or social studies or whatever, that is what you should work on. And there are tons of academic apps or academic enrichment programs. You will find out that some people are doing coding, some people are doing, this summer school, some people are doing, maths club or mathematics or science club, some people are doing arts. So yes, these are things that you can subscribe for your children, so they are not left out, or you are not feeling guilty at the end of the holiday that you've covered that aspect.
How can parents create a structured yet flexible holiday schedule for their children?
Thank God I started with planning from the onset. So it is important that, because we are talking about children now, and we parents also have our engagement. So for it to work, you need to balance your schedule and that of your children's schedule. So we have some working moms or working parents that will go, home from go out or go to work from morning till evening. I'm sure they have caregivers at home or nannies. You can incorporate this plan that you've done with their nanny or their aunties or cousins or whoever is standing as their caregiver. You can explore with them some activities during the weekend so they know how it's being carried out. So you don't feel guilty at the end of the holiday that the children were not engaging in anything. Also, when the parents go out, they should find time and make a video call to make sure that the caregivers or anybody standing as a caregiver is helping to maintain the routine that you have created. Just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and because the caregiver knows that they're expecting a call from you, of course they're going to do the routine that you've already built. So it is not a waste of time. You're not saying, if I build it, I won't be around, or if I create the plan, there's nobody to do it. So these are all the things that you should put in your mind when you're planning for the holiday, so you're not feeling guilty at the end that you're not, you didn't do anything with the children.
On what ways do parents ensure that their children are socially engaged and not isolated during the holidays?
I don't know if it works in this part of the world, but I'm sure it's something that can work, especially with, I'll start with, if you have friends or you have trusted family members or trusted friends that your children can volunteer for. It's something that can happen. Maybe a friend, let me talk about a friend of mine, although she's not in Lagos, she runs a baking shop. If I were to be, in where she's staying, I think I'm going to take my child there to volunteer for her, even if it's to arrange cupcakes in the box or, do an icing on the cake or something. This will help, her socialize. It will not make her feel like she's just home or she's not doing anything. Also, there are creative projects that your child can engage in. Creative projects will mean that probably they have a friend that they are creating something with. I will use my daughter as an example. She's always writing a story with her friend. She's always starting a storybook. I don't know if they ever finished though, but she's always starting a storybook with her friend. You will see at the end, story by, she writes her name and she writes her friend's name. This is another thing that you can do. You can find out when the other child is less busy, and you can, make them get together and then complete the story. So by this way, they know that there's a creative project before them and they are going to explore it during the holiday. Who knows, they can finish up a book before or when the holiday finishes. So that is something that can be achievable if you put your mind to it. So in order for children not to feel like they are being maybe isolated, like you stated, it's important that you follow through your plan. One thing is creating a plan. Another thing is, following through. If you have a well-created plan, you would achieve a lot. To be sincere, you will definitely achieve a lot if you follow through your plan.
What position would we place all these summer camps or holiday coaching, all these activities that we've talked about here? Are they really necessary with all this?
Yes, you see, even though you are sending your child for summer school, summer camp, it is important that you still have your own routine. Because summer camp is not from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Most summer schools will kick off at 10 a.m. or maybe let me say 9 a.m. and then they'll round off 2 or 3 p.m. What happens for the rest of the day? You ought to do something. Also, Saturdays, there's still Saturday and Sunday. What is happening that day? Well, you should also leave out a day or two that will be maybe for nights, movie nights, just a fun day. You don't necessarily need to do any activity. But yes, it is okay if you're sending your children or child for summer school, but also you need to have a plan that will work with you and your family aside from the summer school. It is very important.
How can people get in touch with your organization, MTS Consulting?
Okay, I'm on Instagram. I'm on all the social media at MTS Edu _.
On Facebook?
It is MTS Edu.
What will be your parting shots?
I would like to say this. Aside from all these plans that we've talked about, the activities and everything, it is important that at least we should leave out a couple of days for mentorship programs. Even if it's just once a week or maybe towards the end of the week. Even if it's just anybody around, you don't necessarily need to enroll them in probably a school or with probably a therapy. You can do it yourself, or you invite maybe a close friend or an aunt to just come and talk to the children about their behavior. like how they manage their emotions, because we all know we have different backgrounds of children. We also have different parenting styles, but we don't also know sometimes, not all the time, sometimes we don't also really know what these children are going through, or if there's a bully in school, or probably there's something going on and they've not been able to discuss it, not because they don't trust their parents, but because they feel like their parents are always busy, or they've not actually had that one-on-one discussion with them. So it is important that when we plan for this holiday, we put in a mentorship program. It might just be you doing it for the children, or like I mentioned earlier, you can invite somebody, a good friend, express yourself to that person. Tell them, I want you to come into my house and speak to my children about their behavior. Speak to my children about how to, tackle some situations that are happening in schools. As adults, we are not always there. How can the children build their confidence, how they're able to speak with confidence, how they're able to trust, the adults around them, and to express themselves to their family. So as we are talking about, engaging the children, doing a lot of activities, please let's have a mentorship program in our plan as well.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I've been on with Miss Maryam Tanko-Salami, who is an 3-year educational consultant, and we've been discussing ways in which we can engage children productively during the holidays. You can catch up with more information on this and other related things in the education sector on educeleb.com. Until next time, I remain your host, Abdulsalam Ambo. Bye for now.